Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Department of Indian Work partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Now you can call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also schedule a free COVID-19 vaccine at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Appointments are available for residents 16 years of age and older. Vaccines are available to certain residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, and Dakota counties. Call the Minnesota American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986 to find out when you can get your free COVID-19 vaccination. Appointments are available April 16th through June 19th. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear skies overnight tonight with a low of 37, then clouds move in Saturday with a high of 59. Mother's Day is coming up Sunday, so give Mom a unique gift from one of our unique AM 950 advertisers. Make a reservation at a neat local Minnesota restaurant or give a gift of music or so much more. Check out our list of advertisers at am950radio.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. Hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. As you all know, Native issues are human issues, and let me try that again, Wendy. As we all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. I'm a little off today, and so is Wendy because I had a colonoscopy today.
Colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I see I'm a little off.
Yeah, a little off. Yeah.
And you are too.
Well, your body went through a lot today. You know, you had to fast yesterday and then drink the prep. And then you were up all night and you had to get up at 4:30 this morning to finish it.
Yeah. And you did too, so you're a little off too.
Yeah, well.
You know, it's like you had a colonoscopy. It's crazy. But, you know, hey, I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and my name is... Oh.
Do you remember your native name?
Of course I do. Hey, let me read this here. Wakanja. Yeah, it's Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. And what's my name? My colonized name is Robert Pilot. So, yeah, I am a little off today, even though I feel like a new man.
Well, you had anesthesia this morning, so I'm sure you still have a little bit of in your system. You know, you need to rest.
I am resting.
Okay.
No,
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. You can call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I just want to say the colorectal cancer is the second most common cancer among Native American people and the second leading cause of cancer death. There are usually no symptoms until it's too late. Regular screenings can detect polyps in the colon early before they turn into cancer. So everybody get checked out.
Yeah, like I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little off, but I've done 2 days. I was drinking that water every 10 minutes, and you had a timer on during the show. And then we did a symposium, and Ogama did the symposium, I should say. I was worthless. But hey, without any further ado, why don't we get to Ogama with the news, Wendy?
Let's do it.
Hi, Anim Buju. It's Okamaganui. Thanks for that,
she's
Robert.
On mute. Ogama is
I'm
on
not
mute.
on mute.
Yeah.
I'm not on mute.
We can see her mouth moving.
I'm not on mute.
Okay, who can fix her? Who can fix her?
Hey, how about now?
So I don't know.
Who?
What? Let's see. She's leaving and coming back.
Oh, okay. Oh, so she knows that she's on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. You whipped out that really quick note there. So.
Hey, am I better now?
Let's see if we can hear Ogama now.
Am I better now? How about now?
No, we can't hear you.
It says people on Facebook are saying that they can hear me here on Facebook.
Okay.
But it looks like we're not on the studio. We can hear you. Oh, awesome.
Yes,
sorry about that little minor technical difficulty,
Maybe.
Everybody.
Sounds like it was from the mothership.
We'll see. Well, from the mothership, I do want to wish a happy early birthday to Brett in the studio. I believe his birthday is tomorrow, so happy early birthday to you, Brett. Moving forward, I want to touch base on water protectors who blockaded a man camp in Bacchus, Minnesota yesterday. They have all been released from Cass County Jail. They thank everybody for their bravery, and you can donate to the Legal Defense Fund at protestlaw.org/line3. Coming up with events, this one's kind of a cool one that I've seen. This Saturday, May 8th, Buffy St. Marie is going to speak at the 3rd Annual Indigenous Healing Festival, which is hosted virtually by Indigenous Ways 501c3 and in partnership with a couple of other Native American schools. The theme of this year's festival is survivance, and the Native American term for the continuation of Indigenous women. The festival is online and is going to be over this weekend, May 8th and 9th, beginning each day at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So I believe that's 12 p.m. here. Don't ask me what time it is in Central Time, but it's 11 a.m. Mountain Time anyway. You can attend for free and find out more information and register at indigenousways.org/healing-festival. Other events have
noon our time, Central Time. Yep.
Noon Central Time. Thank you, Robert. Yep. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the Welcome Water Protectors Center at the Great River is the Defendant Solidarity Gathering and Spring Action starting at 11 a.m. This is a rescheduled event. What they're going to do is the defendants are hosting a day of art and community building with music and fundraising at the Welcome Water Protector Center north of Palisades. So that's going to be a really awesome event. There is a Facebook event for that we did share on Native Roots Radio. Another event happening at the Welcome Water Protector Center, if you're going up there, you should maybe just stay the weekend, is on Sunday, is Mayday, Mayday for Mother Earth. That is going to be Anishinaabe women water protectors and allies doing a group paddle on the Mississippi River to protect water and defend land. That starts at 9 a.m. on Mayday, Mother's Day, May 9th at 11 a.m. in Palisade, Minnesota. Tuesday, May 11th is the Line 3 Resistance event, Know Your Rights. That's an online event co-hosted by the Minnesota Unitarian Universalist Social Justice Alliance and Camp McGizzy and Honor the Earth. It is going to be a Zoom event where you can have a conversation and dig deeper into the reasons why so many different people are getting involved with this, as well as learning what your constitutional and civil rights are to protest against the tar sands pipeline. You can sign up for that event on Musja or Camp McGizzy or Honor the Earth. And once you register, you'll receive a confirmation email with the information about joining the webinar. In Shutdown Line 5 news, there is a Detroit solidarity rally to shut down Line 5. That one's going to be May 12th, 2021 at 6 p.m. It is going to be at the Kameni Rec Center on Fort Street in Detroit. Masks are required. That is in solidarity with the May 12th and through May 13th event in Mackinac City, which is the eviction notice for Enbridge Line 5. There's 3 grassroots groups who have joined forces to evict Line 5 in Michigan. They're expecting quite a few people, so make sure to wear your masks. And I know that Honor the Earth is bringing out the giant puppets for that event, so that one's going to be really cool. If you can't get out to Michigan for that event, there is a Ride for the Rivers, a bike ride against Line 3 send-off happening on May 13th at 10 a.m., and that is leaving from the Namaji Trailer Park and Campground in northern Minnesota. June 5th through 8th. If you have not yet mark your calendars for the Treaty People Gathering in northern Minnesota. That is going to be a huge gathering, mostly outdoors, and you can sign up to learn more at treatypeoplegathering.com. Today was the Defund Line 3 National Day of Action. There was actions all over the country. 1,000 grandmothers in the Bay Area in California. 350 of Colorado Springs was harassed by the police. And Stop Line 3 Rising Tide in Chicago stood outside a Chase Bank. It was really, really awesome. And the last thing that I want to touch on today is that, on Wednesday was the National Day of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Relatives. But get this, on Thursday, the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center, which is based in Lame Deer, Montana, issued a press release about the organization being disappointed because social media posts, Instagram stories, and others were taken down or removed overnight, which were shared in support on Wednesday. So some of the content included Instagram stories that actually belong to the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center and past stories that they had pinned to their feed from supporters. So that is kind of a really big deal. They've reached out to Facebook and social media companies about this, and the company responded saying they are going to investigate the removals, but so far I don't have any follow-up on that one. So we'll touch base with that soon.
Wow, great report as always, Ogama.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of really good events, really.
Yeah, definitely. So, hey, we're giving you the news that you normally don't get over Turtle Island and news and events, which is very, very important to keep our circle of strength going. So I want to give you a big shout out, Ogama, for each day giving us this Native-centric news so our allies and our relatives can come out. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and up next is State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Stay with us. The Department of Indian Work partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Now you can call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also schedule a free COVID-19 vaccine at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Appointments are available for residents 16 years of age and older. Vaccines are available to certain residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, and Dakota counties. Call the Minnesota American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986 to find out when you can get your free COVID-19 vaccination. Appointments are available April 16th through June 19th. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Hey, it's Friday.
Yeah.
But hey, there's a wild dog in the background of State Senator.
That's a wolf.
A State Senator, Mary Kunesh. So it seems like we have her on the show every day. We just love her so much.
That's exactly. We call her and then she's there.
Right, exactly. So it's awesome to have you on, State Senator Mary Kunesh. I'm a little out of it today because I had what did I have again? A
colonoscopy today, this morning.
Oh, TMI.
Well, we're bringing awareness.
Because
We're bringing awareness.
I'm being a what is it called, Wendy? A influencer.
Robert's
yes.
being an influencer.
A medical influencer.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Not to gross you out. I'm bringing it up with that. But hey, we had you on a couple days ago, and it was really exciting. Thank you so much again for being on and talking about the MMIWR Day. So, I mean, you can recap that and talk about what you want. We really appreciate you coming in and letting people all over the United States, because we're live in Madison and Chicago and the Twin Cities, and then all over the world on Facebook Live and YouTube. And that's on Facebook Native Roots Radio and YouTube Native Roots Radio. So look us up if you're out and about. Welcome, State Senator.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope you're feeling better, Robert. It is really important that that we are paying close attention to what goes on inside these bodies of ours. And, we're in this, hopefully post-COVID, even though there are so many variances that seem to be popping up all over. But, that nasty cancer bug is just insidious. Just yesterday, I had a friend who had a number of had an operation to remove breast cancer tumors, and some of her lymph node that it had quickly spread into. And then somebody very close to me, a young woman, very young woman, under 30 years old, had a tumor, a melanoma tumor, removed from her back. It was the size of a tennis ball. Can you imagine that? And of course, they're concerned that it might move into her lymph nodes, because melanoma is one of the most ferocious cancers there are. So pay attention to what's going on and look for spots on your bodies and check yourself for unusual lumps, and please get to the doctors as soon as possible to make sure that you're taking care of those things. So yes, we had a fabulous week with recognition and awareness for our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. Here in Minnesota, we passed some legislation 2 years ago to create a task force to study just that. And we were not surprised by some of the results that we found. We found that one out of, while our American Indian population in Minnesota is just 1% of the general population, 8% of the missing and murdered women in Minnesota, specifically the murdered women, are Native American. And we know that the violence against our Native communities are some of the highest, unfortunately. We also were able to corroborate the fact that the violence against our Native women comes from non-Native men. And so we need to make sure that we are paying close attention to what's going on and off our reservations or in our urban core where we have so many Native Americans. Shout out to Chicago and their Native community. I can tell you that back in the day when your Indian Center was being developed and established, my great aunt Susan Power was very instrumental in there in getting that together and being active within the Native community. So she's still down there. She's up there in the ages and not so apt to be out and about, but we know that our Native communities are still there. They still exist. I was on a discussion this week about reluctance for vaccination, even why that's happening and what we can do to ensure that all the community members, not our Native community members. And unfortunately, when we went over some of the slides beforehand, I realized that there was no data or information about Native Americans. It was, white and African American. And I pointed out how oftentimes our Native community is left out of the data, and it's almost like we don't exist, and there have been times where I pointed that out and people will say, oh, the data, it's so small, the numbers are not significant. Well, we are significant. We exist. And so when these studies are being done and then the data is being shared in whatever form, it is so important to include all of our community members. Otherwise, we're kind of erased. And so this...
doing the something else on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
So we run into that all the time. It's funny too. I just want to jump in here, Senator. One of the things that I talking about my colonoscopy. One of the things I wanted to mention too to you that maybe you could bring up and touch on too is that we had a whole year and a half of people not being able to go to the doctor, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's catching up to us. So it's a scary time too. So I want to just say thank you for opening up and talking about that.
No, absolutely. That we were discouraged or actually not even allowed to go into some of the clinics for things that we were concerned about back in the day, even though if it was a serious issue, a lot of people didn't even want to go into the hospital or to the doctor because where were all the patients with COVID in the hospitals? And then there are those really kind-hearted folks that would say, well, we don't want to detract from the work that the doctors and the nurses are doing. I'll just wait it out or tough it out. But time to get out to your doctor and get a physical and make sure that you are in tip-top shape so that you can enjoy this beautiful summer. And hopefully here in Minnesota, we'll be able to dine outdoors again and enjoy each other's company and give hugs. And just be sure that you are taking care of yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry about jumping in on
No,
your quote. I just wanted
those are good points.
to
But I do want to also make a point for those of you that are hesitant about getting your vaccines. If you look at the graphs, especially from the CDC, and you see those spreadsheets and the information and the up and down and up and down, there are new variables or variances of this COVID that are going out every single, all the time. There's a new one, and it's affecting our kids. It's affecting those that have already had their vaccine. So while you might be nervous about getting your vaccine, please reconsider that. And if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for others that might be really susceptible. There was a gentleman in my community that ran for office. I mean, he wanted to serve the people. And so he ran for office in a number of different opportunities and was never elected. Well, he was one of the anti-virus believers and anti-mask believers and anti-vaxxer. Unfortunately, in the last month, he did contract the virus and passed away. And so this reluctance to admit that this is really happening or that it is life-threatening, it'll come back and bite you in the butt if you're not careful. So please, please, please see, it's everywhere. It's everywhere you can go. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to have proof of insurance. The vaccines are, you might have a small reaction to it, but in the end, it could save your life or somebody else's life or your family member.
Well, you talk about somebody else's life, Wendy, all the time, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I bring up. We were on a walk with the dogs today talking about that very thing. If you're not going to do it for yourself, if you don't believe in it, do it for somebody else. Like you said, that there might be other people out there or, younger people who aren't able to get vaccinated right now. They're susceptible now.
Mhm.
And I said to Robert, I said, how would you feel? You get COVID, you pass it on. Every time you pass it on, it hops around from people to people, like it mutates.
Mhm.
How would you be able to live with yourself if you were responsible for a strain that us vaccinated people aren't protected against?
Mhm.
That could happen. So I don't know. The whole thing is I really wish that people would just get vaccinated and just do it.
Yeah.
Hey,
When you think
stay
about how
tuned
many
for-
people get a flu vaccination every year, it's
Right.
basically that.
Do you have a capacity to do another segment, State Senator?
Sure, I'll stick around a little bit longer.
Awesome. Did you see how she said that kind of flippantly?
Thank you.
All right. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be listening to more conversations that Wendy's had with the dog later on today. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Eric Perkins, the firm Realty in Edina, would like to take this time to thank our doctors, nurses, and first responders. In a time of crisis, they risk their own lives to ensure the safety and lives of others. Let's keep these unsung heroes in our thoughts and prayers. This from Eric Perkins, the firm Realty in Edina, over 20 years of experience, offering half the listing fees. Call 612-219-0234 or visit lowratecommission.com.
The only place I take my Sienna for service is Rudy Luther Toyota. After you buy your Toyota from Rudy Luther, the relationship is just beginning. Rudy Luther offers incredible service specials for your Toyota. You can find the specials online at rudyluthertoyota.com. Get great deals on tires, batteries, alignment, air filters, oil changes, and even wiper blades. Plus, their service department will inspect your vehicle and make sure it's good to go. For service on your Toyota, the only place to go is Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Hi, Minnesota. Make sure you tune into my program, the Tom Hartman Program, every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950. Smart radio for smart people.
Right now, bees need a friend. You can be that friend while lightening your workload. Minnehaha Falls Landscaping can help you create happy places for bees and butterflies in your yard. We're reinventing lawns to be safe for pollinators with no-mow grass and blooming ground cover flowers that feed bees all season without any pesticides or synthetic fertilizers. Together, we can protect over 80 species of native bees in your yard. Visit MinnehahaFallsLandscape.com to get started. That's MinnehahaFallsLandscape.com.
The Department of Indian Work partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Now you can call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also schedule a free COVID-19 vaccine at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Appointments are available for residents 16 years of age and older. Vaccines are available to certain residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, and Dakota counties. Call the Minnesota American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986 to find out when you can get your free COVID-19 vaccination. Appointments are available April 16th through June 19th. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear skies overnight tonight with a low of 37, then clouds move in Saturday with a high of 59. Mother's Day is coming up Sunday, so give Mom a unique gift from one of our unique AM 950 advertisers. Make a reservation at a neat local Minnesota restaurant or give a gift of music or so much more. Check out our list of advertisers at am950radio.com.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are the Alusa Nation. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakun Jahade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice, and the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
And they were the ones that put on the
red dress.
Yeah,
yep.
It was awesome. Mm-hmm. There was so much
At the
going
Capitol on Wednesday. That was great.
Yeah, and just a couple things before we get back to State Senator Mary Kunesh. One is that I'm running a Facebook. What is it? I can't think today. What's going on? It's a fundraiser on Facebook for the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. No, and it's right on Facebook. So give to that. I know almost got $1,000 right there. And
nice.
State Senator Mary Kunesh has donated, I know, which is
nice.
awesome.
Thank
and
you.
then I want to also give a quick shout out to Matt McNeil that he seems like he's getting better and he's like the rock of AM 950 and where he's everybody's idols. And then there was one more other thing that I wanted to bring up. Happy Mother's Day, Wendy and Mary. So happy.
And Ogama.
And Ogama, yes. Sorry, Ogama's off the screen. So we'll wish her a happy Mother's Day when she comes back on. So State Senator, thanks again for joining us. We really, really appreciate you coming on, and you have so much great information. So we'd like to let you go and flow. And then today, Wendy will be asking questions because I'm here kind of drooling on myself because I still have a little amnesia going.
Except I don't have any questions, so go for it, Mary.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say that Wednesday was, like one of the highlight days that I have had at the state legislature. It was phenomenal to see all of the cardboard cutout red dresses that community members and the American Indian Community Center put together for that. I have to tell you that I actually painted 200 of those signs.
Wow.
I had my sisters come over one Saturday and my brother came over and we just banged a ton of them out. But the pictures are really phenomenal. In Minnesota, we have this long green front lawn and nothing's really been going on at the Capitol these days because it's first of all it's safeguarded, but we just haven't been able to gather as we have. And to see all the volunteers come out and put the dresses out, and when you go up to the third floor of the Capitol and you look down, it actually looks like the outline of the red dress person with the arms out and the dresses. And then of course there was the all call for.
Rory did a phenomenal job.
Oh my gosh, he put that together. I know we always do it with a hope and a prayer, but this time prayers were met because not only were there so many that came out to make the dresses, but also to put them into the ground. And then they had to have somebody there for security overnight, like 24-hour security. And so members of AIM, American Indian Movement, were there to make sure that the dresses weren't tampered with or anything like that. And I don't believe it happened. So thank you to the public of the Twin Cities for honoring the security of those dresses. But also there was the all call for jingle dancers. And it's been a while. We didn't get to powwow at all last summer. And when I heard the drums and when I heard the jingles, man, I just got just so full of goosebumps and so emotional. It was fabulous, and so many legislators came out to kind of pay homage and pay attention to what was going on. Willamette Hardy came from way up north. I think she had to drive 6 hours to get there. But Willamette is one of the women who testified when we were passing the legislation for missing and murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force here in Minnesota. She lost her daughter in Chicago. And unfortunately, as it often happens, the young woman was misidentified. And when they were able to identify her, getting her daughter's remains back was next to impossible. I think it took her 20 years before she could bring her daughter home and put her to rest. So we just appreciate when Willamette makes that effort and shows up. It was a remarkable day, and I appreciate all of those that came out. Now in Minnesota, we did complete our task force study and put out a really comprehensive report in December. And if you just want to Google Minnesota MMIW report, you'll be able to read the really comprehensive report. And one of the first recommendations or mandates was to create a permanent MMIR, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives office within our state government so that we can continue this really vital and important work. And we are hoping to put this together, again, not asking much money and a minimal staff. Unfortunately, the Senate majority in the of GOP will not. We didn't get the hearings that we needed, and there's reluctance to make that happen. So we're keeping our fingers crossed again and hope that they come through for us, because we know when we address the ills of our society for one group, it often will actually kind of spill over into the other groups. And we know it's not just our Native women and men and girls and boys and two-spirits that are the only ones that are victims of this kind of violence. But it's important that we're addressing it now and making sure that nobody loses a loved one. It's got to be the hardest thing.
Exactly, Mary. Hey, I just back to Wednesday. There was a couple things that struck. You really had a really nice speech. We had the lieutenant governor say some words in the beginning and give you tremendous shout outs. But one of the things that really struck me, and I mentioned that a couple days ago, and I'll mention it again, is what House Representative Heather Keeler said about what she told her son.
Oh, she said, if I go missing, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional and goosebumpy. If I go missing, don't let anybody ever tell you that I did it because I wanted to or because it was suicide. And that often is one of the responses that families would get from police or other authorities when they would report their loved one going missing. That maybe, oh, she ran away, or she's with a new boyfriend, or she's out partying, or that when they find the person deceased, that it was a suicide. And that actually happened to my mother's cousin. Who after a very terrible tragedy with a couple of her children being lost in a fire, kind of had a downward spiral and went missing, and her body, or she was later found in another state, and of course, it was decided by the autopsy or the authorities that it was a suicide, and the family knew that that would never be the case. But oftentimes, the investigation is over before it's really begun.
That's part of the being invisible that you were talking about earlier. And I think, you know, uh, uh, sweeping us under the rug. I was trying to think of the right word because I never sweep here in the house, but sweeping us under the rug, you know, and we're still here. And that's why we always say that, right, Mary?
Yep. Yep, we're here, and we might have been invisible for a long time. A lot of it by choice, because of the atrocities that would happen within our families. If you think about back in the day when kids were removed from the home for any reason, the least reason that they would remove them and put them in the foster care system, and often end up, those kids would often be adopted out. And so families didn't want the authorities to know that they had kids, or they kept kind of under the radar because of all the prejudicial activity or lack of support that they were getting from their communities.
The 60s
And
scoop, Mary, the 60s scoop. Remember, tell our audience about that documentary from Canada that you turned me on to.
Yeah, this was a podcast I listened to, and it's called
Finding Cleo.
Finding Cleo, and it comes out of Canada. And it's a podcast about the siblings that are looking for their sister Cleo. All of them had been removed from the family up in Canada, and they called it the 60s scoop because up in the 60s in Canada, literally they would come into the home and just remove the kids without any provocation or any reason, put them into the foster care, adopt them out. And so all of these kids, I think there were 5 or 7 kids, all got removed, all went to foster care. Most of them got adopted. Cleo and her brother got sent to adopted in the United States. And when they went in to take those children, do you remember this, Robert? The mother, who had been traumatized by violence herself, was there, and they handcuffed the mother to the door so that she couldn't go after her kids or protect her kids. And then they just left them all. And for years, those kids wondered, why didn't my mom come after me? Why didn't she save me? But they didn't know that she had been handcuffed.
Without getting too deep in it, we only have a few seconds left here. One of the things that we talk about trauma so much, and the older brother lived with trauma his whole life because he promised that he would come for her.
Yeah.
So,
And he himself had been mistreated terribly by, put on a farm, made to work really hard, not given, what the rest of the kids were getting. He was just a free hand on the farm. And then, that guilty conscience of not being able to protect his sisters, so painful.
Well, thank you so much, really, for turning me on to that. I listened to that all the way. It was a 10-part series. I listened to it all the way to Wounded Knee a couple of years when I went with Clyde Belcourt, the founder of AIM. Peeny Mary, for being on, and have a great Mother's Day. And thank you so much for what you do for the community and our Native community and the people you represent. Peeny.
Wapalatonka, and hey, happy Mother's Day to all of you moms and all of the moms that work as moms but aren't moms biologically. We really appreciate you.
Perfect. Wow. We love Mary, don't we, Wendy? Hey,
absolutely.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Stay with us.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime. It means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. One is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Annie, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are the Alusa Nation.
Hey, welcome back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahare.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
How? We got Ogama on there. Oh, good one. Hey, so great to hear from State Senator, just powerful, and talking about that. And I really got emotional when she talked about finding Cleo again.
Yeah,
wow.
I want to listen to that podcast. It sounds really intriguing and very powerful.
And we kind of talk around the story, Wendy. But it really, I'm getting emotional.
And I'm sure whoever had Chloe, the mom was handcuffed, and, the people who got her and the other kids, I'm sure the other kids were told, your mother didn't want you. She's not coming after you. She's not, in the meantime, she was forced not to.
Yeah, and that was called the 60 Scoop in Canada, but we had our own scoop here in the United States too, and I'm adopted.
Yeah.
In 1963.
Right.
18 months old. My mother couldn't keep me, and my grandma wanted to keep me, and I ended up adopted. And my story ended up good, though.
Yes.
And we have to say that too, but most stories aren't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
really tough.
Yeah.
It really is.
And happy Mother's Day to my birth mother and my mother in heaven, Mary Pilot.
Mary, who brought you up.
Yeah.
Who was your mom. Yeah.
We were talking about her too to the dogs.
I know. We talk to the dogs all the time. We talk to each other, but the dogs kind of listen to us. But what are you going to do?
Hey, it's our sacred animal section, and I know you've been busy the last couple weeks, so it's great to have this section back in. So, Wendy,
thank you.
Do you want me to introduce you like I used to do back in the old days?
Sure, do whatever you'd like.
Hey, here we go. All things are relatives. What we do to everything we do to ourselves. All is one. Black Elk said that. I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy Pilot. Wendy has been an animal advocate for many years. She is a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and she works on animal issues at the state and local level. Welcome, Wendy. Tell us your name.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. My name is Hana Jihihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega, Curtis. So as always, Curtis, thank you so much for that name. I have some bad news, but then I have some fun stuff to talk about. This is updated today. This is May 7th, and this was updated this morning. This is from Care 11 News, and it was written by Dana Theed. 2 bald eagles were found shot to death near Black Duck, Minnesota. And Black Duck, Minnesota is a city in Beltrami County. It's 24 miles northeast of Bemidji. Black Duck, Minnesota agents from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, DNR, and federal wildlife officials are trying to identify the person responsible after the discovery of 2 dead bald eagles who appear to have been shot. So if anybody has any information on that, please call the DNR to get those people in trouble. There's a hefty fine. So lots of money they'd have to pay, and they'd also have to face some jail time as well. So we want to get that straightened out and squared away. And you're not supposed to be killing eagles, but while I have eagles while I'm talking about eagles, I like to talk on Friday. I like to make it a fun fact Friday, or a fluff Friday with just things to talk about animals in a way to help people identify maybe better with them, or maybe understand them a little bit better, and just have fun talking about animals. So I'm going to be talking about more facts about eagles. But there's over 60 species of eagles, so that's a lot of different eagles. But we usually just talk about both the bald and golden eagles, and their feathers are highly regarded and considered sacred within the Native American Indian traditions, culture, and religion. They are honored with great care and shown the deepest respect. They represent honesty, truth, majesty, strength, courage, wisdom, power, and freedom. So they're really something else, these birds. Their grip is up to 10 times stronger than a human grip. So if you could hold on to something as tight as you possibly can, an eagle can do it 10 times as hard.
So my mom, speaking of Mother's Day, used to pinch my leg when I'd act up in church, and that was a heck of a grip. So I can't even imagine 10 times more.
Well, it says you definitely wouldn't want to get in a fight with an eagle, as your chances don't look so good. While humans have to think to grip, eagles have to think not to grip.
Oh.
Yeah, so once they grip, they have to really think
lightly or strong.
Yeah. They usually lift prey that weighs up to a couple of pounds, but the largest type of eagles can lift prey up to 5 pounds. So honestly, that makes me feel a little bit better, because our little dogs go out in the backyard, and we do live near the river. And although I haven't seen any eagles in our backyard, we do see those big hawks. Like they go right on our fence and look, and they try to get our chipmunks too.
Well, that one big one that
got
was
a squirrel that day.
Oh, the eagle you're talking about?
Do you remember that?
I was talking about the hawk, but
Yeah.
we had the hawk in the backyard, and it seemed tame, and it had a tag on it, and we're just kind of going, get the dogs and cats in the house.
Yeah, I know. Well, of course, they build their nests high up in cliffs and really high trees. And we have an eagle that lives right by us, like maybe, what is that, like a mile away?
Not even.
Yeah, in
There's
that big
4
tree.
of them.
Yep.
4 of them. And did you know, here's a trivia.
Yeah.
I did not know this until later in my life, that the bald eagles don't get their white head and tail until they're 5 or 6 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I know.
Is that a good one?
We just learned that. Yeah, that is a really good
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah, exactly. An eagle's eyesight is up to 8 times stronger than humans. That's why we call it eagle eyes, right? You have eagle eyes, right?
Yeah.
Eagles, like we have 20/20 vision. An eagle has 20/4 and 20/5 vision, and we have 20/20 vision.
They tested one of the greatest baseball hitters of all time, Ted Williams, and he had 20/10 vision.
Wow.
He could see the spin of the ball.
That's amazing.
So an eagle could really play some baseball if they wanted to.
Exactly.
Hit that curveball that I could never hit.
Mm-hmm. And even though eagles weigh around 10 pounds, the eagle's eyes are the same size as human eyes. Their eyeballs are the same as the human size.
Even my
precise, the eagles, that they can spot a rabbit up to 3.2 kilometers away. Now, us Americans don't use the metric system. We're still old-fashioned.
We're the only
So
countries that don't.
3.2 kilometers is around 2 miles.
Oh.
Yeah, so they could see it, a rabbit from the sky.
I
2
learned so
miles
much
away.
on the show that by accident. Thank you so much. I learned so much by accident in the show.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right, one more. Like you said, Robert, bald eagles aren't actually bald. Some of their white feathers on their head. The only reason it's called bald is that the word comes from the English word piebald, which means white-headed. So maybe we should start calling them white-headed eagles instead.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good idea. Or
Mhm.
find a good Lakota, Dakota, or Ojibwe or Ho-Chunk word to call it,
Mm-hmm.
which there is.
Yes.
Chosh. Well, I'll tell you next week how you say eagle and
You know what a baby eagle is called, right?
mini eagle.
An eaglet.
Oh, here hit the pro or the music out. That was awesome.
Yeah.
We'll end at that one. What would say it? Say it again.
It's called an eaglet.
Little eaglets. Wow. Hey, if you're listening to the show, I would like to end with these thoughts. From Chief Kent Plentycoops, the ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. And wear a mask. I want to thank State Senator Mary Kunesh, Wendy Pilot, and our Chujunk Ogama for the news. If you are listening to the show, you are the resistance.
Free Leonard Peltier, stop line 3.
Hi, everybody. This is Santita Jackson of AM 950's new daily morning drive show, The Santita Jackson